Delayed stress syndrome. To one degree or another, it affects almost everyone who's ever been to war. Americans who fought in Vietnam know it well. As it turns out, so do other Americans whose Vietnam battlefields were in hospital operating rooms. Until lately, Terry Drinkwater tells us, these Americans have been keeping their silence.
I don't have an innocence that other people have. I have this shadow looking over me all the time. Sometimes I just want to scream, you know, why? Why, you know?
Margot Gitson, Vietnam nurse. She left the war 13 years ago, but the horrors of it still ravage her mind and the minds of thousands of other women who nursed all the wounded and dying men.
Why was it me? Why did those people die? Why? It just didn't make any sense. And it still doesn't really make any sense to me.
Oh. Oh.
And also,
Nurses are taught to care for others, not themselves. Perhaps that is why so many of them suffered in silence for so long after Vietnam ended. Rose Sandecki was there. Now she counsels others.
I know of several nurses who will say they have no problems. These women have either gained tons of weight, they are probably quiet alcoholics, they may have gone through 10 or 12 or 14 jobs because they're having difficulty in their jobs, but they have no problems. We have no problems. We're fine.
I couldn't get along with my fellow workers. I couldn't get along with my family. I couldn't get along with friends. I was angry and hostile, depressed, and I didn't know why. I really didn't know why.
Pam White finally decided she had to get out of nursing. She spends hours alone now with her horses. Peggy Tuckson stayed in nursing. Caring for other people eases the pain and confusion she still feels over Vietnam.
I don't know what I'm angry at or who I'm angry at, but I'm angry for what happened to the people, the Vietnamese people, the American soldiers that were there that have no arms, no legs. You know, 18, 19-year-old kids.
but at least now, like you say, we're getting in touch with some feelings, or at least showing them for a change. Whatever.
Vietnam nurses are starting to organize rap sessions like this one at a Veterans Administration Center in Seattle. There is Sarah Lee, struggling with flashbacks, savage, waking nightmares of blood and death.
And last night, it was like I relived that whole thing, and I was scared to death, and I was just jumping all over the bed and covering up my head.
Last night you were?
Last night.
Georgianne, haunted since 1968 by the death of her commanding officer, killed minutes after he led her to safety during an enemy attack.
He jumped in his Jeep and went to his command post at the perimeter, but he never made it. And I've thought 1,000 times if he hadn't come to get me, he'd probably still be alive. Anyway, I just felt guilty about that for 14 years.
I know how you feel, but if you can think about it a little more clearly, he could have got it 10 minutes later.
And there is Anne, who has taken to writing out all of the hurt and anger and guilt in essays about her Vietnam patients.
But mostly I just want to hug them and ease their emotional pain and make everything okay for them. Futile wish, to be sure, but I need them to know that if I could have, I would have. It's the first time in 12 years I've even cried about it.
More and more they cry, and that is good, because for so long, the tears would not come at all. Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Seattle.
For CBS News, Dan Rather in New York, thank you for joining us. Good night.